Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're hosting a special training session, how to stay at the top of the garment buyer's mind. And we're excited to have an awesome expert, William Randolph, the founder and CEO of Think Acquisition, who will be presenting today and offer this special training. Federal government contracting is a very crowded business space with over 2 trillion worth of government spend happening annually in the US. And GovCon space attract many firms vying for the time, attention, and the budget of government contracting and the program personnel. How do you and your firms stand out and distinguish yourself from the crowd and foster effective business development relationships? Today, thank you for joining William Randolph. He's a former federal government acquisition executive and contracting officer. Now he's the founder and CEO of the boutique consulting and training and development firm called the Think Acquisition, and to hear how he took his experiences from his 26-year government contracting career, coupled with the small business marketing, branding, and targeting activities he learned over the past 2 years. Also hear how he finds his tribe of interest buyers, generates warm leads and connections in a virtual environment, scales introductory offers for government buyers, and how he uses a three-level hunt, fish, farm activity strategy to become top of mind in government buyers and end users. Thank you so much, William, for spending your time and offer this invaluable training. And now, stage over to you.
Okay, great. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it, Cindy. Folks, it's a pleasure to be with you. I'm going to share my screen because I have something that I'd like to share with you. And that is our presentation in terms of how to stay top of mind with government buyers. This framework, and this is what I truly believe, is a presentation around a framework that has been developed over the last 2 years or so, if you will, as we started a business with, we started the business with one person and $10,000. That was the LLC, one person and $10,000, and that's how we started the business. And at the end of that business, at the end of that year, we had booked $1 million, over $1 million, like 1.1 million, and on tap to double that in year 2. Playing at a very low and very targeted level, and I'll share with you some of that story. So let's dive in. So I always like to show this picture because this is the person. Okay, I grew up on a 100-acre tobacco farm in Southern Virginia. Okay, so I'm a country boy. Okay, and as a result of that, I like to think that if I can do it, there was no silver spoons. Okay, there was no silver spoon, and that if I can do it, anyone can do it. Okay, so I grew up on a 100-acre tobacco farm in the country, and in most fashion, typical 17-year-old know-it-alls, young men that think they've got this thing called life figured out, and they want to get the first thing smoking out of town. And that for me was the Department of the Navy. So I joined the Navy right out of high school, enlisted into the Navy, and that was my first experience with federal government as a client. Okay, I was part of my job was in supply. So we had to buy goods and services for the Navy, for my organization that I worked for, that I was a part of. And that was my first foray into government contracting, understand as a consumer. Okay, and then after that, I spent a little over 5 years in the Navy, came out of the Navy, GI Bill in hand, and I went to school and I got a degree, or earned a degree in business with a minor in government. And that's where I found acquisition as a career field. And that's where I learned the other side of the table of government contracting as a provider, okay, as a service provider. Okay? And then this picture at the bottom, I like this picture. This young man down there at the bottom was my last SES portrait that I took when I was in government. Okay, and when I was there, I believed I had this acquisition thing all figured out, that I knew it. I spent 26 years in the business. It's like, I know this acquisition stuff like the back of my hand. And I'll show you what that 26 years kind of looked like. Okay. And I always want to make sure I understand and share why it's worth the hour of your time to have this conversation. Okay, again, left the Navy in 1993, went to school in 95, graduated in 95, started out as an intern, contract specialist intern in 1995. Couldn't spell acquisition all the way. Okay, and then over the course of my career, had the honor of being selected to the Senior Executive Service in 2009 with DHS, and then held various assignments within DHS until I retired in 2016. August of 2016. And then I did the Beltway consulting thing for a while, a little over 3 years. And then in July of 2019, I started my own company, found the thing that I was passionate about, found the demand signal that I thought was still unfilled, wasn't responded to. And I started and built a company around that concept, training and development. And then here in July of 2021, I am here and I'm glad to be with you. So GovCon success, it's a journey, but it is absolutely a destination. You can find it. I believe you can find it. It takes some strategies. It takes some unique strategies, tactics, and tools, but there is success in this space, okay? But the thing we have to do, in my opinion, is we have to rethink government contracting. Okay, we have to rethink government contracting. There was a time where the only people that had to think about marketing and branding were the big guys. Okay, the folks that could create commercials, that could get commercial time on television or a Super Bowl ad. That's when that's when marketing and branding applied to the big guys. I'm here to tell you today that marketing and branding talk is at every level. Okay, no matter the size of your business, you have to have a marketing and branding strategy in your business, in your overall business development activity. Okay, and what does it take to build a marketing and branding strategy? It takes effort. Okay, it takes information. Okay, you have to know your target, know your vertical. Okay, and it also takes opportunity. But thankfully, opportunities can be created. Okay, you don't have to wait for them to show up. They can be created. Procurement management is a thing. Okay, from a government side of the house, procurement management is absolutely an activity. And to be successful on the GovCon side of the house, you have to understand procurement management. What's going on? What are the things that the government is doing? What are their behaviors? And what are the real messages behind them? When you do that, you can then differentiate yourself from the competitors in the market space. As Cindy mentioned earlier, the marketplace is crowded. It's crowded. New entrants coming in probably weekly. New people ready to eat somebody's lunch, ready to take market share. They're coming in weekly. So you have to be able to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. And there are a couple of things that are necessary in order to do that effectively. Okay. First, you have to understand that the business development, especially in the small to medium-sized companies, it's a system. It's a system. Okay. The big guys, the large guys, have a machinery of business development activity and business development personnel that are doing this work, from sales to capture to business development to proposal writing. Okay, they have a big machinery, right? Scores of people that are in the business of doing this activity. For the smalls, we're often doing it ourselves. When you have a team of 4 people, you have a company that has 5 people, everybody's in business development. So you have to think about it as a system. Okay. Second, even in the meritocracy that is federal procurement, okay, if good goes in, good should come out. If crappy goes in, then unfortunately crappy comes out. Even in that meritocracy is run by humans. And with humans, people do business with people they like, know, and trust. Okay. So your system has to produce likability, knowledge, and trustworthiness. Okay. Those are the key components. Okay. So you're thinking about it. That's number 2. And then number 3. If you build it, they will come. Only works in the movies. Okay, I don't know if you all recognize the scene, but this is a scene from a movie from 1989 called Field of Dreams. And this farmer had a dream that if he built a functioning baseball park in his cornfield, the players from the old days, the glory days of baseball, would just show up. So he takes a part of his farm and he builds a baseball field, functioning lights, stands, everything. And in Field of Dreams, these luminary members of baseball players of a long gone era, miraculously find his baseball field. They just walk out of the corn and there they are. I share with you that only happens in the movies. If you build a business, no one cares until they know who you are and what you can deliver. You're just another LLC or a business to them. If you build it, they will come does not work. They have to know you exist and then know what you can deliver, what value you can unlock for your company to be successful, for your business development activities to be successful. Therefore, how do we become top of mind? Right? How do we get into the minds? How do we build knowledge with our government buyers and become top of mind when they have requirements? Now, these are the biggies. The top 20 federal government contractors from 2020. Look at that. Okay. Look at those guys. They have top of mind by name recognition. I bet you can look at those names and say, oh yeah, I know them, I know them, I know them, I know them. They've built name recognition. Most smalls don't have that luxury. So we have to play a different game. But thankfully, we have something called Small Business Federal Contracting Goals. We have a gravitational pull. That's actually a gravitational pull for our participation. at the prime level, and even at the sub level, there's a gravitational pull for our participation. This is the fuel for our system. The federal government has goals they must meet. Therefore, they're looking for us. We have to meet them halfway. And I'm suggesting there's a plan, there's a strategy to do that. So, if you have to meet them halfway, if you have to become top of mind, how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you become top of mind in your government buyers? When your buyers are thinking about their requirements, they're like, oh, I remember those guys. Oh, I remember that team of folks. We should reach out to them. That's when you've won. You get personal invites to small parties. That's when you know you've won. You get to play the real game then. Okay? So folks, I have created, my team and I, we have created what we call the top of mind plan. Okay? This is much less a creation as it is a documentation. These are the activities, actually a subset of all of the activities that we've done, but these are the ones that worked. These are the ones that worked. It's a plan, it's a system, it's holistic, but these are the ones that have worked. And I'd like to share them with you. Number one, in the top of mind plan, you have to find your tribe. You have to find the group of individuals that have wants, needs, and aspirations in the space you're going to market in. Okay? If you're in the IT space, where does your tribe aggregate and congregate? Where do they live? Okay, either online and as things open up, in person. What affiliations, what associations, where are they? You have to go find them, okay? Number one, and then you've got to live amongst them. You've got to live in the tent with them. That's where the power is. That's where the value is unlocked. It's not in just finding them, but it's living amongst them and hearing their wants, their needs, their aspirations, their desires and goals. All of that information is your demand signals, your go-to-market demand signals. Okay? How do you find them and live amongst them? Okay? And hear their wants, their needs, their desires, their goals, and aspirations. That's the work. Find them, live amongst them, and then just listen. You will hear what they want. You will hear what they need. Number two, once you've done that, now you got to do your own homework. Okay? Once you found them and started making the connections, one of the most grave mistakes I have seen individuals do, and that we coach individuals into not doing, is making contact with your government buyers and asking them, so what work do you have for me? Okay. You've just assigned them homework. Now they have to stop thinking about their problems. And if you're lucky, they'll start thinking about your problem. You just assigned them homework. What in their world could they give to you? That's not the right question. You have to do your own homework. It's intel, it's reconnaissance, it's intelligence work. But you have to, or we have to, as small businesses, have to do the homework to find out what their wants, needs, and aspirations are. And then we prepare to say to them, this is how I can help you. It's a totally different conversation than, what do you have for me? Okay. We need to get into a position of service. How can we unlock value for them? They have problems. They have mission needs. They have requirements. And it's not their job to do matchmaking for us. It is our jobs to do matchmaking for them. So, number 2, in the top of mind plan is make sure you do your own homework. Don't assign homework to your government buyers. Number 3, stick to your knitting. Okay, the thing that you say that you do that. I remember in my years of government service as a contracting officer, meeting companies that believed they could do everything for everybody. They didn't have an expertise. They didn't have a specialty. They didn't have a vertical, a business area that they planted their flag and said, we live here because we are good and we deliver and unlock value here. Instead, it was, oh, we can do that. Oh, we can do that. Oh, we can do that. And if you can do everything, then you really do nothing well. Okay? So identify the thing, stick to your knitting. Okay? Identify the thing you do well, and then deliver value there. Be known for that space, not any space. Number 4, here's the 3-pronged approach. Okay. As a kid from the country, hunt, fishing, and farming as a metaphor resonates with me. Hunting, it is very opportunistic. It is finding leads and shooting on them, going after them, has a high degree of luck, but it builds muscles, but it's very opportunistic. It's reactionary. If you see something, if something happens to come across your path, then you shoot on it. That's hunting. Fishing, very different strategy. This is the first of the proactive strategies. This is, instead of hunting being a 1 person to 1 target ratio, in a fishing environment, you're looking for, or a fishing dynamic, you're looking for a 1 to many. Okay, 1 to many. You want to get many hooks in the water. Okay, find as many opportunities to tell your story to multiple people at the same time. It's a leveraged activity. Okay, in 30 minutes, you may be able to have 1, maybe 2 meaningful conversations on a telephone, okay, or on a Zoom. But if you're at a webinar, or you're a guest speaker, or you write a blog post, or you write a LinkedIn article, or you do a video, that same 30 minutes, hundreds of people can see that. That's fishing, getting your story, your compelling individual value proposition in front of as many people in the shortest amount of time. Fishing, multiple hooks in the water. Okay? This opportunity here is a perfect fishing example. I would have never been able to have a meaningful conversation with 8 to 10 people in an hour if we were having one-on-one conversations. But in a 45-minute, 50-minute webinar, I can demonstrate competence, knowledge, experience, a worthiness to engage with and build a connection. My greatest fishing expedition, I'll use that word, exercise, was with me in front of 687 people on a Zoom. My people at the National Contract Management World Congress, I had an opportunity to speak for an hour in front of 687 people. That was the moment I knew the concept of fishing worked. Because at the end of that 1 hour, 25 people connected with me, about 25 people connected with me on LinkedIn. Of those 25, probably half of them, we actually had a conversation. Then about half of those said, let's go do some business together. That was a great presentation. Could you come and do that for my organization? That was a fishing event. 687 to 25 to 12 to 6. There was no other way that I knew of where I could land 6 clients in an hour. That's what fishing looks like. Getting your story, getting your unique value proposition in front of as many people in the shortest amount of time. That's fishing. And then hunting. The last is hunting. Excuse me, farming. The last is farming. And that is after you've done your hunting and you've connected with individuals, people, groups, teams, after you've done your fishing and you've connected with individuals, groups, teams, now you cultivate those relationships. You spend the time and energy to keep those relationships warm, to turn those connections into relationships. Once you've done that, then guess what? Those farming, those individuals, those relationships that you are cultivating now become hunters and fishers for you. And they will see an opportunity and reach out and bring you along. That's the value of farming, is that you grow more hunters and fishers. So multiple people are now scanning for that opportunistic moment, that thing that just pops up on eBay, that RFI on sam.gov, the solicitation on Seaport E. Okay. And you may not even be on those vehicles, but if you build the relationships, demonstrate value, and show competence, when they need a partner, guess where they're going? Ooh, I see something. Don't you work in this area? Yes, I do work in that area. Come on in and join with us. Let's talk about it. Welcome, join the team. That's the benefit of farming. So hunting, fishing, and farming, 3 levels of activity, 3 different time frames, time spans of activity, One is very reactionary in hunting. Fishing is very methodical, one to many. And farming is investing time and energy into your contacts to make them relationships. Number 5, be prepared to team. Okay. One of the first things small businesses have to do is master effective, in my opinion, effective subcontracting. Okay. Go to the big guys that have won the work and build your past performance. Team. Find those individuals that have won work. So here's a freebie life hack for you in the GovCon space. On sam.gov, they do award announcements. They tell everybody who just won new contracts. Now, do you think the team that just won a contract, let's say today, when they submitted that proposal, probably 5 or 6 months ago, say March, do you think that team from March that submitted that proposal is still together in July? Likely not. So the euphoria of the win in the morning evolves into, oh crap, we actually have to deliver on this thing in the afternoon. That's an opportunity to reach out and let people know you are available to join teams. That's when they need you. Number 6, when they need you is when they have pain. And when they have pain, they're looking for pain reliever, otherwise known as Tylenol. So make sure, this is a symbolic representation, but make sure your unique value proposition looks like Tylenol. It solves a problem. It doesn't look like vitamins that are aspirational. We hope vitamins work. We have no real proof. We know Tylenol works. When we take Tylenol, you have pain. We know Tylenol is a pain reliever. We don't really know about vitamins. You just got to kind of believe that the vitamins that you're taking are actually helping you. So make sure your organization is postured, that its marketing and branding shows that it sells Tylenol, not vitamins. And last, start small. Be willing to start small. Be willing to start small. Master, one of the things we talk about in our coaching program, is master the model of free, F-R-E-E, to fee, F-E-E. What can you provide to attract your tribe that costs nothing, that will set the stage or demonstrate value to an organization, so when they want to pay you, you are top of mind? You have to master the free to fee model. Okay? That's number 7. It's a system. Okay? And as with most systems, people often think it's a puzzle. We have to solve for one answer. There's only one answer. Tons of permutations, just like a Rubik's Cube. There's lots of movement that can be made, but there's only one answer. I'm suggesting to you that it is not a puzzle to be solved. It's more like Play-Doh. It's more like Play-Doh. You can create anything you want out of it as long as it works. It's not one puzzle with one solution. It's multiple colors that can be molded and formed into any strategy that works for your vertical, for your line of business. Okay? It just has to be aligned to your customers. That allows you to become top of mind. Why this works is really simple. Passion, the things that we care about, control our language. Our language controls the things that we talk about, our discussions. Okay? The things we talk about, or our discussions, those control our relationships. Okay? We attract the relationships based on the things we talk about. Okay? And then in the end, our relationships control business. Again, people do business with people they like, know, and trust. So we have to build relationships to increase that likability, that knowledge, and trustworthiness. So if you're wondering, well, can I do that? Is it doable? The answer is yes, you absolutely can. It's a system. It's a system. A system can be created for you, for your community, for your line of business, for your tribe. But the answer is yes. Okay? The answer is absolutely yes. And here is the fuel for it, which is bigger. Every one of us has two buckets. Everyone has two buckets. The question is, which one is bigger? The obstacles bucket or the dreams bucket? What are the aspirations for your business? Maybe it's multi-generational employment. Maybe it's generational wealth. Maybe it's multi-generational wealth. Maybe it's service. Whatever that is, you've got to make sure that your dream bucket is larger than your obstacle bucket. So whenever your obstacles get larger and as your business grows and increases and you do more things and you pursue more activity, your obstacle bucket, it's absolutely going to get bigger. Okay. I remember when I went from one employee, me, to 3 employees, hired 2 new people, had to hire 2 people. Had to learn how to do payroll then. Okay. I could take care of me, but now I had 2 people that were expecting payroll to happen and benefits to happen. My dream bucket had to get bigger. If my dream bucket stayed the same size it was before, it was like, never mind, I'm not interested. I don't want any parts of that. But my dream bucket had to get bigger. I had to dream a bigger dream so that my dream bucket outsized my obstacle bucket. So once your dream bucket is bigger, then the obstacles just keep getting smaller. Okay. But that's how it's done. Remember these guys? The top 20. Okay. The top 20. Remember, Each one of those big guys started as a small business. The one I love talking about is Booz Allen and Hamilton, BAH. At some point in their history, it was just Booz, it was just Allen, or it was just Hamilton. Okay. At some point. So if you believe it, Lockheed and Martin, okay, there was probably a Martin somewhere, like the Martin. So if you believe it, and if you can wrap your head around the mindset shift that all the big guys were once little guys, then it's just a process. It's just time. It's effort and time. The system is there. If a human on the planet has done it, then it can be replicated, or a group of humans. A group of humans on the planet have done it, then it can be replicated. We just have to figure out what to do with our time and our resources. Okay. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to present. One of the things that I encourage people to do is to connect on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, please connect, reach out. If not, there's my email and telephone number. We'd love to help if we could be of service. If you're not on LinkedIn, please get on LinkedIn. That's where all the communication, collaboration, engagement, and networking is happening. Okay. I'd welcome any questions that anyone has. I'd welcome the time. Okay. As you're thinking about your questions, I want to introduce one other point to you. I have a YouTube channel called Williams Whiteboard. I'd welcome you to come there, take a look. We talk about all things acquisition, contracts, government contracting, small business, mindset. I think we're over 60 episodes now. I'd welcome the opportunity to talk about it. Come by and share, subscribe. Leave me some comments. And then I want you to join my tribe. I'd love for you to join my tribe. Again, reach out, connect, however we can be of service. Okay. So Cindy, I'm going to stop sharing and we can just go to Q&A now. So if that works for you.
Yes, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for the awesome, wonderful training. So one quick question from me. What do you see the trend for the opportunities for small business or minority-owned business in the current Biden administration?
Oh, this is the heyday, Cindy. In my opinion, this is the heyday. There hasn't been a better time. Now, I don't know if it'll get better than this, but in my opinion, there hasn't been a better time than right now. Okay. And there's a couple of things that are driving that. One, we're opening back up post-pandemic. Okay. The pandemic re-wickered stuff. It reorganized some things. Some organizations, companies, firms didn't make it. And we honor them. Okay. We realize the challenge. Okay. Some didn't make it. But those that did, think about the muscles that you had to build to survive the last 16, 18 months. You can hit the ground. When the things open back up, hit the ground running. Okay. I like to think about it as we were swimming against the tide. Okay. We weren't swimming for time. Okay. This wasn't a competition. This was just to keep swimming. Okay. The goal was just to keep swimming. We were swimming against the tide, but guess what happened during that time? We were building our muscles because we were fighting against the tide. Now, we're with the tide, okay? We are swimming with the stream now. It's wide open, opportunity abound. We have to be ready, okay? We should have been building our muscles when we were swimming against the tide. But I think it's a great opportunity. And so that's part number one. And virtual is here to stay. Some things got rewickered it got reshaped. You know, one of my colleagues said we had 10 years of evolution that happened in 10 weeks. Okay, if we went to 2030, 2030 would look like this. Because over time, we would have evolved a little bit at a time. And 2030 would look more like this. But we got to this from March to May of 2020, okay? 10 weeks. That's why it felt so hard, is because it was so fast and compacted. 10 years in 10 weeks, but we did it. And those that survived, think about the muscles we have. And one of the things is virtual, the shift to virtual, powerful. It's going to be the greatest thing since the internet. Okay.
That's really exciting. So whoever is still hanging there, congratulations and keep swimming.
Congratulations.
And there's a bright future ahead of us.
Absolutely. I'm just a believer.
So we do
I see a couple of things in the chat. Would you like me to tackle a couple of those? All right. Susan says, thank you very much, William, for the thought-provoking. I appreciate it. It's a good approach to offer to build a prototype for agencies to get your foot in the door, or your experience, or is there a very low ROI approach to this? Yes. Okay, prototypes aren't bad, okay, but it still takes a significant amount of investment. Here's what we teach. Here's what we teach in our coaching program is what we've considered hacking the acquisition system. You build an offering. This is a freebie team. Okay, you build an offering that is $10,000 or less. That the cost of it is $10,000 or less. It could be an assessment. It could be a report. You come in for a half a day, do an assessment, do a guided offsite, something in your space that you are a subject matter expert at. Build an offering that the price of it is $10,000 or less. Now, why do I say that? Because $10,000 is the micro purchase threshold that the price of it, that acquisition can be done by a purchase card. Okay? Think about how many people it takes. I'll let you in on a little secret. It takes 2 people to make the decision to spend $10,000. If they have it in government, it takes 2 people to make that decision. Think about how many people it takes to spend $1 million. Tons of people, everybody and their grandparents, okay, has to be in the decision-making process to spend a couple of $1 million. Okay? Now, everybody's competing after the couple of $1 million. But the $10,000 thing is not advertised. They invite you in. Okay. When they invite you in, that is the first step. First, you got past performance now. You get to add the emblem to your capability statement. Have any of you ever had anyone ask you when they look at your capability statement, so what's the dollar value of the work you did with USCIS? On that capability, on that emblem, when you put the emblem on your capability statement, has anyone ever asked you what's the dollar value of the work? You just get the gravitas of having the past performance. So it could be $9,999. But you have the past performance now. Okay. Step one. Step two is once you get in the door. So I'm giving you some inside, this is inside baseball, my friends. Once you get in the door, whatever the next opportunity is, there is FAR authority that's called follow-on contracting authority. So that if you start with one company and you want them to do some additional work for you, there's actually authority in the FAR that'll let you do that on a sole source and on a sole source basis. You've opened the door with the $9,000 deal, and it doesn't make sense to change horses. So yeah, come on, let's do some follow-on work. Those people, these folks helped me do some great work. We want them to do some more work. Why would we compete that now? You get to land the second piece on top of it. And then it's just a game of Legos. You just keep adding Legos. But you have to get in. I call that, we've hacked the system. We've done the thinking to how do you get in to start the process to the larger thing. Everybody's fighting for the $5 million thing. Very few people are offering the $10,000 thing. And they have problems. The government has problems that $10,000 can be the beginning of solving the problem. Won't be the end. You don't want that to be the end. You just want the beginning. Okay? So I hope that, so in lieu of prototypes, do the thing that's the $10,000. It could be a course. Think about it. It could be a training, a half-day training. And they're like, wow, you all really know what you're talking about. We got this other big problem over here. You want to do, would you help us with that one too? Of course. Okay. That was the essence of my model. I talked about earlier about the free to fee model. My YouTube channel I have had more business out of my YouTube channel than any other strategy. Because I talk about things that are relevant to my community, to my tribe. And they see me talk about X for 8 minutes. It's like, oh, you did a great 8 minutes on that. Do you think you could come into the office and give us a half day? Of course I could do a half day. And then the half day turns into the full day turns into the week. Okay, and this just past September, I had my first full year contract, $150,000 contract that started with a free YouTube video. Okay. That's a process. And I sold the course before I built it. I mean, yes, I sold it before I built it. Got a contract, and it's like, okay, now I got to go build it. Okay. So this is a long way of saying prototyping is great. I believe in it, but I would go much further down the offering that allows them to make quick decisions in a timely fashion using a P card just to open the door, and then come with the prototype when they can actually they can actually find you and contact you and contract with you once the door is open. I hope that helps. What are your thoughts in regards to CPO Soraya Carrera? Oh, I'm sorry to see her go. I worked with Soraya. She was a colleague of mine. She was the HCA at OPO when I was at ICE, and when I was at HCA at ICE. And then when I worked over to the program office, she floated up to the CPO. I'm really sorry to see her go. Hopefully she'll be around in the community. She's done a couple of things. She has protected her people, which is most important. That's the freedom for people to be creative. When it doesn't work like we hoped it would, it's okay. She's taken the top cover for that. She's done that, and she's leaned into the DHS PIL, the Procurement Innovation Lab, rethinking the way contracts is done for the 9 components. So I hope she's around. I hope she retires and comes back in some other capacity where she can influence. But yeah, I'm going to say sorry to see her go. I don't think much impact on acquisition vehicles. The things that she's identified, they've provided value. The things that she's worked on and that have crossed the finish line, they've provided value. it would be asinine, in my opinion, for someone to say just because they were started by Soraya, now we're going to just throw those away and try something different. They've provided value. So that's my opinions on that one. Thank you for your presentation. My pleasure. I love the dreams bucket. Yes, I believe it. I believe it. It's a simple mindset hack that simply says, look, when your problems get bigger, you just got to dream bigger. Okay, that's the goal. Okay, just dream bigger. That the dream is worth it. Whenever the dream bucket is bigger than the problem, than the obstacle bucket, it's worth solving the obstacle. Awesome. Thank you for that. Great training, takeaway hunting, fishing, farming. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. Deborah, that was your comment earlier. Thank you so very much. Your path to success is expiring, and thank you for all the great advice about using the purchase card. My pleasure, Susan. My pleasure. I consider it a hack. You know, the young people today talk about hacks. You know, we hacked the system. You know, my partner and I both were contracting officers. It's like, okay, we've got to go fast. Okay, and the way to go fast is not by competing for $10 million contracts. That space is crowded. Okay, it's crowded, and the big people will eat your lunch. Okay, we were two people. Well, we had 26 years, 36, 40. We had 40 years of experience, but we were new to to responding to the other side of the table. We had a good reputation and we had good connections. But if you're going to just go and play the regular competition game with scarce resources, it was just two of us. It was just scarce resources. That model will eat your lunch. Okay. So we said, okay, let's take our knowledge of the system and let's hack it. How do we hack it? And because we were in the training and development space, we offer half-day courses for, I think the first number was like $6,500. Okay. But we got in. The goal was to get in and to start collecting the logos. Okay. And no one to this date in 2 years has ever asked us, so how much work have you done with ATF? It doesn't matter. We've just done work with ATF. Okay. And then the $6,500 thing turns into a full day course. You did such a great job with X. Can you come in and do Y for us? Of course we can do Y. Okay. And then Y becomes Z, and Z becomes A, and A becomes B, and B becomes C. That's how we build it. But it all starts with a purchase card where people with the pain can make the decision. And now, fourth quarter, lots of nickels and dimes falling out of the sky. Okay. So big stuff is happening. Big muscle movements happening in the fourth quarter as well. For DHS, I remember we did the assessment that 45% of the spend happens in the last 25% of the year. So big muscle movements of dollars are coming. But every time someone has a $5 million, has a $5 million requirement, and they get it under contract for $4,950,000, there's $50,000 that they've got to do something with. Nickels and dimes fall out of the sky. Be ready to catch them. Have something, forget catching it, have something that will attract it. Okay. Find your tribe, find your community, find your agency, and then find something that will attract those nickels and dimes. That's just the beginning, but you got to start. So many people, it falls off the rails because they never get the first thing. And the first thing leads to the next thing. Okay, Cindy, I think that may be it for the list. Any other questions? These were great. Questions, comments, thoughts, observations?
So thank you. Thank you so much for the inspiring presentation. Everyone here is extremely inspired. We're glad to have a hunting, farming, and fishing expert, William.
Thank you. Thank you.
And my takeaway is, start small, keep swimming, and go fast. Go fast.
Keep swimming. Yeah. Yes. The tide will change. The tide will change. So keep swimming. Yes. Build those muscles.
If we don't have other questions, we will just end the program now. And again, thank you so much, William. And also we have some board members here, Zhongwei, Stephanie, and Rena, also some members from the
Oh, hi,
GovCon.
Rena. I hope you're there. Good to see the face and picture.
Okay, appreciate everyone's support, and have a great rest of the day, and hope to see you at the future GovCon events. And check out William's LinkedIn and his YouTube channel. I will.
Absolutely. Thank you. Be well.
Thank you, everyone.